Why do those of us who use computer software and most importantly know how to properly use computer software win more than anyone else? I'm Joe Duffy, CEO of OffshoreInsiders.com, and I'm about to reveal some of my secrets. Number one, computer software eliminates biases. Of course, most gamblers love to bet favorites. For the most part, winning gamblers lean towards underdogs, and I've always been an underdog guy. And of course, when it comes to over-unders, some people like overs, some people like unders. But having a bias is a big enemy when it comes to winning in sports betting. Let me give you some examples. Road favorites, they're kind of sucker plays in the NFL. Not that blindly betting home dogs you're going to win, but some of the biggest sucker plays in football, NFL especially, road favorites. Yet conversely, they're very good in the NBA. So if you hate road favorites or you love road favorites, it's going to do you a favor in one sport and not another. And in fact, the NBA is really the only sport where road favorites are consistently good bets. Underdogs, especially big ones, are generally a good bet. But yet in college football, you'll see me bet a lot of big favorites. And that's because I go by the facts. So you don't want to blindly bet underdogs. You don't want to blindly bet favorites. And when I say blindly, I shouldn't really say that. You don't want to strongly have a bias towards underdogs or favorites. In certain sports, it'll help you. In certain sports, it will hurt you. Know the exceptions. Look, there have been situations where I despise in Major League Baseball betting on big favorites. And the only reason I do is because my computer software gave me empirical proof there are certain situations where I need to lay like 170 in Major League Baseball and 175, and oh my goodness, I despise it. But facts first. Facts matter. Regardless of my bias, regardless of how allergic I am to chalk, I've got to throw out my bias and put winning first. In fact, it really takes advantage of biases. What the heck do I mean by that? Well, again, like we tell you in so many different videos and articles, odds are not made based on the prediction of an outcome of a game. Odds are made where the odds makers and the sports books and the bookies are trying to get equal action on both sides. They know what the biases are. It's going to shade some cases, and we can see where otherwise knowledgeable sports fans, remember how I said there's a big difference between being knowledgeable about sports and being a good handicapper? Perfect example. People that know sports inside and out, they might look at this matchup and say, yeah, this team matches up so well, go with them. But the odds makers are one step ahead of you. They know what the public is generally thinking. So we're taking advantage of the biases of everyone else with computer software. It does thousands of man hours. You're never, ever, ever going to miss a system. Computer software, what it does is once you find the system, it stores it, and it tells you when it applies. I've heard people, I know, some sports services out there, some gamblers, they will specialize in a conference because it's true what they say. Look, you can't follow, especially, in college football, even in professional sports, tough to follow every team. So there are some quality handicappers who are specialists. But when it comes to computer software, the computer can essentially follow every single solitary team. So I don't have a conference or a region or a division, whatever. I don't necessarily specialize in one area where the computer does thousands and thousands of hours of work for me. Wherever the facts guide me, I can go. Look, I remember, just an example. In the old days when I got started in this business in 1986, but full-time in 1988, I had success with the old adage about betting on unranked favorites to ranked teams. And every now and then, especially maybe in college basketball, I'd be watching SportsCenter or CNN Sports Tonight with Nick Charles and Fred Hickman, and they would, claim that there was an upset here where the number 16 team was upset by the unranked team. And I'm like, oh, wait a minute, I blew it. I missed the situation there. I would have bet on that. Of course, it wasn't an upset because the unranked team was actually the favorite. But the point being, yeah, there are times before computer software was so sophisticated, I'd smack myself in the head after I was listening to the scores and listening to the details and like, oh man, that was a situation I usually exploit. Don't miss them anymore because of the computers. Like I said, the computer stores it and then tells you when it applies. And with so many of the best opportunities, for example, if you're a fan of mine, if you're a customer of mine, you should be, you'll notice so many of the best opportunities we've had, small college football totals. So sometimes it's a high profile. In many cases, it's the low profile, and college football totals are the example. But again, perfect example of where the computer means you can specialize, quote unquote, in every single conference, every single solitary situation, every single team you can specialize in. That's why bettors have trusted me, Joe Duffy, for years, long before there was an offshoreinsiders.com, back on the Score phone days. And this goes back to, like I said, 1988 full-time, 1986 when I was working part-time. I've been able to be in this business for more than 3 decades because facts first, winners, winners, winners. I've got the combination of both experience, but yet the youth to know the computer software and the breaking technology. Visit me, offshoreinsiders.com. Joe Duffy's Picks. Never lose again.